Good evening, everyone. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now, Kentucky. And yes, we have a long, exhausting pattern ahead for many folks throughout the state. So, of course, tonight I'm going to take probably a bit of a longer broadcast. Of course, with the multiple days that we have ahead of not only severe weather, but of I think what may be the headline here, despite the severe weather, is the potential life-threatening flooding that we're going to see once again throughout a good portion of Kentucky. Um, so we're going to take a little bit longer of a broadcast here, just kind of explain to you what each day looks like going ahead. It's actually easier to tell you that it's going to be clear tomorrow, and that's our only clear day. Again, we'll break down each day going ahead. There is new data coming in right now, so I'm going to try to stall a little bit so we can get some of the fresher data that's coming in here. Sorry if the beard looks a little scruffy today. Obviously, I'm a little bit tired from last night, so I didn't take the usual time to get all pretty for you guys. But once again, if you're just now tuning in here, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with WNK, and we're going to allow folks about a minute to get in here, so make sure you guys get settled in. Of course, share the broadcast. I see that Haley and Taryn are already on that. Thank you guys again. We had several messages from new folks last night who saw our videos and got the heads up and alerts that they needed because of your all's shares. So your all's shares do work. Thank you guys very much for your help with that. I'm going to go ahead and share this out myself real quickly. If you don't mind. Again, we're going to allow for probably now another 45 seconds. Allow everyone to get in here that wants to be in here. I know sometimes alerts go out slower and faster depending upon your internet connection and where you're at. So, again, I'm going to allow a few moments just because, once again, I think this is probably our most significant stretch since May of last year. So I want to make sure I allow folks enough time to get in here and settle in that want the information. And of course, we'll make several updates throughout the next few days as well. Also, sorry if I don't sound as energetic tonight. The day the day after a long event like last night, I'm always just shot. So I'll try my best to get through this with you guys here and give you all of the information on what to expect going ahead. Again, quite the wild week ahead, and it only got started last night. We do have already, I believe, 3 confirmed tornadoes last night. I think we'll see at least one more, most likely 2 more by tomorrow morning. Surveys are still ongoing. I'll show you where those confirmations were, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened last night. We'll talk a little bit about where we're at tonight and where we're heading into for Wednesday. I know that's the day on everyone's mind, but I think we also have a severe threat on Thursday. We also may have a severe threat on Friday and Saturday, very briefly. We also have major flooding risks that are coming into Kentucky. Again, just an absurd pattern. And it always seems like the end of March, early April is that same time frame almost each year where we get sort of maybe not our peak, but always a little bit of extra activity around. Thank you to everyone that's sharing the broadcast. Reese, Shannon, Brandon, Harry, Christy, Karima. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Everyone else over there on YouTube. Good evening to you. Sorry, my clock is way off right now. Amber says hello from Louisville. Emily, hello to you. Hello out of there in Shepherdsville. Austin, good evening to you, my friend. Bluegrass Acres, hello. Karen, hello. Flying Milkshake, what a name. Good evening to you. MK, hello. Renji, hello. So on and so forth. Darren Court on Facebook says my radar isn't showing anything. I'm not really sure what you're looking at, my friend. Laura, thank you for sharing the broadcast. Lisa, good evening to you. Again, we'll give about 10 more seconds or so. Allow those folks to get in here. If you are just now hopping on the broadcast, you have not missed a thing, my friends. We'll go over everything that you need to know. Will the National Weather Service be doing any surveys in Radcliffe? They've already confirmed 1 tornado in Hardin County, and I think we'll probably see another confirmation by tomorrow morning. Okay. That said, let's go ahead and roll into everything here. I'm going to start with the actual confirmations, and then we're going to show you all the model data, all the forecasts, all that good stuff, okay? But just to recap what we saw last night, we do have several, and this is just mainly the higher end right here. I do know that there was widespread wind damage to a lot of folks throughout Kentucky, but this is more of just the higher end things, if you will. So those greens that you're seeing there are the already confirmed tornadoes, all of them being EF1. So no EF0s. I'm kind of surprised. So EF1 is, that doesn't sound like a big step up. But if you think about it, EF1 is one category below a significant tornado. Significant starts at EF2. So that said, you know, they were quite the rowdy ones last night in Kentucky, and I do think we'll have more. I think there was definitely one in Pikeville. The NWS in Jackson is still wrapping up their surveys there. I think the NWS Wilmington is also investigating a potential tornado or damage up there in the very far northern portions of Kentucky. It's cut off of this image here. This is from the National Weather Service out of Louisville. And again, if you're just not tuning into the broadcast, you have not missed a thing. We're going to cover all the information ahead this week. Just stay buckled up with us here. Tornado was confirmed in Fairdale. I believe that one had 95-mile-per-hour winds, maybe 105. I have to go back and check. Spencer County, 105-mile-per-hour winds there for that EF1. The longest tornado of the night so far, again, I think this one might be beat. Meade, Hardin, and Bullitt, where I started up there in Brandenburg. And then tracked across through West Point and in toward Shepherdsville there. EF1 tornado confirmed there. I believe you will also see that the black line just under that green line. This one will probably be confirmed as well. I caught that on video. I did not catch the funnel cloud, but you can tell that there was absolutely a rocketing inflow into that tornado. I don't know if this was going to be a tornado the entire time for this entire black line here. But I do know that there were several videos sent in to not only me, but the National Weather Service out of Louisville. You could see an obvious tornado in one of the pictures, even though there were some people that were blind. An obvious tornado in one of the pictures that was out of Brandenburg there. And this one would have tracked through Fort Knox, northern Radcliffe, southern Bullitt County, going into Barstown. Again, I do think you will see this one eventually confirmed. I don't know if it's going to be for the entire line. But again, my gut feeling, and from some things that I'm hearing, this one may be confirmed tomorrow morning. Breckenridge, Arden County, there's also some damage there. I did see some pictures here of a funnel cloud near Custer, Big Springs. Don't know, I couldn't tell via the picture if it did actually make contact with the ground, but nonetheless, there's at least going to be severe damaging winds there. This black line underneath Jefferson County going into Bullitt here, I believe this is going to be wind damage based upon what I saw on the radar there. Not necessarily tornadic, but again, maybe wind damage. And there are other ongoing surveys right now. This is just the ones that are making the headlines at this point. So the forecast yesterday did pretty well. I think for Western Kentucky, it may have underperformed a bit, but it definitely did not underperform for Central Kentucky. It looked like a little bit of an eastern shift of the actual damage zones occurred last night. Again, they did have a couple of confirmations out here in Western Kentucky. That was actually crossed for the Missouri border there, so not technically in Kentucky. So maybe a bit of an underperformance there, but once these two lines met last night, it was absolutely rocketing Central Kentucky. And then I had one more brief pulse up right before it left the Kentucky border there in Pikeville, Kentucky, where I do think we're going to have another confirmation of a tornado out there. So that was quite insane. So the video, by the way, the video I posted around, I think it was 6 a.m. this morning, that's actually the video of this storm that went across this black line here. You can't see anything, but just turn the video up and you can hear what I'm talking about. Absolutely sounded like a train was coming through here. All right. So that's from last night, folks. Again, so if you're just now hopping on here, we're talking about the long pattern that is developing here for this week. Quite the exhausting pattern, if you will. I do want to show you real quickly as well. Here are the filtered storm reports. Again, this will be filled in over time. This is not finalized, as you can see here, considered preliminary, and we do know there's at least 3 more tornadoes to be added to the north central portion of the state right here. And I think you'll see a lot more damaging wind reports be recorded as well. But overall, it looks like the zones were pretty correct. The Western Kentucky side saw the bulk of the hail. Central Kentucky side saw the bulk of the damaging winds and tornadoes. And the Eastern Kentucky side saw a weakening trend of both of those two combined. So the forecast was pretty good. Now moving on here, let's look ahead here into the future this week. Quite the pattern unfolding here. I'm talking the potential for double-digit rainfall to occur over a span of about 5 days. We saw this back in February, yes. But we're talking about the potential for even more rainfall this time. For example, back in February, Elizabethtown saw about 5 inches of rainfall, and we still saw major flooding there from the rivers there. And every model is projecting at least 8 inches for that area. throughout the next 5 days. Again, that's just one example there. This is the official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center out of the National Weather Service. This is their forecast here, and it keeps changing a little bit as models come in. It'll fine-tune the areas a little bit better, but overall, these zones look to be pretty spot on here. I think Western Kentucky sees the bulk of the rainfall there. Potentially up to 12 to 14 inches of rainfall is not out of the question here. I think you'll see a wide swath of 6 to 10 inches of rainfall everywhere from Bowling Green to Elizabethtown to Louisville, Bardstown to Lexington up toward Cincinnati, Ohio, even out there toward Mount Olivet, Maysville, maybe picking up 4 to 6 inches of rainfall out there. So quite the swath of rainfall overcoming the next 5 to 6 days. Again, not very excited to see that. We saw the repercussions from that last time, and we do not want to see that again. By the way, we do already have flood watches posted from the National Weather Service to include all those same areas except for far eastern Kentucky. So flood watch is out. And again, this is for excessive runoff is expected to result in flooding of rivers, creeks, streams, and other low-lying and flood-prone locations. Low water crossings are likely to be flooded. Extensive street flooding and flooding of creeks and rivers is expected. This is expected to be a high-end event with life-threatening flooding. Major flash flooding and river flooding will be possible. Rush to completion of any flooding preparation by Wednesday. So again, make sure you have a way to get to higher ground. If of course you do get overtaken by water, don't think I'm being dramatic by this. We had to help Eastern Kentucky folks through this last time, as well as far western Kentucky folks through this last time. Again, flooding is the number one, I believe. No, number two. Number two cause of number two for most deaths by weather-related event. Number one being heat. Number two being floods. It's not tornadoes. It's not severe thunderstorms. As scary as those things are, the number two cause of death from weather events is flooding. So please do not take this lightly. And just don't be that person that says, "Oh, it's just rain." No, it's a lot of rain. A lot of rain. To put that in perspective, 10 inches of rainfall is roughly about 100 inches of snow. That's how much liquid that is. It's a lot of liquid. Currently, right now, what we're seeing is temperatures resting in the lower 40s. And we actually do have a cooling trend ahead of us here, so I do want to show you this right quickly as well. If you look at the latest CPC outlook here from the Climate Prediction Center, a much below average temperature projection for the next 6 to 10 days, and then a much below temperature projection for the next 8 to 14 days. So a cooling trend is upon us here, and that's kind of the reason why we see an uptick in severe weather here. We have all that Gulf moisture, all that warm Gulf moisture shooting up through the eastern portion of the United States, central portion of the United States as well. And that cold air is meeting with it, and it's creating a lot of chaos. All right, so what I'm going to show you now, did I stall long enough? I did not stall long enough. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have a new model run coming in now, and I've been trying to stall this out. So what I'm going to do is actually go to the GFS model here and just kind of show you just the repeated rain and everything that we're seeing here. So again, this is valid for Tuesday. We're going to go ahead and skip this all the way to Wednesday here. And you'll see here's our first threat for Wednesday as storm line gets rolling out here. And again, this isn't high res. This is a global model, so it's not going to be as clean cut, as HD as we like it to be. But once again, just this, what we're kind of doing now is looking at the general overview, and then we'll start focusing a little bit more in on Wednesday here in a few moments. All right. So advance this forward. Again, we see a stalling line of rain there, and you'll see this kind of tilt almost. If you guys remember back to Hurricane Helene, when we talked about the Fujiwara effect, it's similar to that in the sense that it's going to take a low pressure and just kind of spin it in the same areas for a long time. I don't see a secondary low pressure. That's what's required for a Fujiwara effect. But again, kind of similar in the aspect that the same areas are going to get hit over and over and over and over again. So this is valid for, again, Wednesday night going to Thursday morning here. Thursday afternoon, line kind of lifts to the north there a little bit, and then it comes back down. And when it does, by the way, when we do see the extension of this southern line into western Kentucky, this might be another shot of severe weather. Again, maybe some hail and winds involved with this on Thursday going into Friday. So yes, we do have another severe threat. And then as we go into Friday, that line kind of seeps along the Ohio River there, which is definitely not what we want to see. That's the biggest and largest body of water in or near Kentucky. So the last thing we want to see is a stalling line of heavy rain showers along the Ohio River, but that's where pretty much all the models have it at this point. So if you were anywhere near the Ohio River, I would actually make plans to maybe have a backup plan to evacuate if necessary. So again, obviously we hope we don't need to call that, or the National Weather Service needs to call that, or your local emergency management offices need to call that. But you absolutely, if you live near the Ohio River anywhere, make sure you have backup plans just in case any evacuations are required. Advancing this forward, once again, that line is going to lift to the north and then eventually extend back to the south. So again, you kind of see the same pattern here. And then we kind of get a break on Saturday. So late Friday going into Saturday, perhaps a little bit of a break. I'm not sure how much I'm 100% buying that. But it's been pretty consistent that we may see a break as the low pressure tries to lift to the north and then get slammed back to the south as the cold front comes back in once again late Saturday going into Sunday, proposing another severe threat, potentially. Maybe on the lower end, but still there. Advance this forward, you'll see that rain finally moves out on Sunday morning, and then we just have some residual showers, which, by the way, may end up mixing in with a few snowflakes. Again, as that cold front comes in, it's a very aggressive cold front. I would not be entirely too shocked if we see a few snowflakes on the backside. I know that's absurd to hear. I know you're all probably thinking I'm crazy. But again, I would not be too surprised if we click over here to see the precipitation type, if we see a few snowflakes mixed in, and that's exactly what we see there on that backside, the potential for a few snowflakes. Again, it wouldn't be anything crazy. I'm not talking, a blizzard or anything super wild happening, but the potential is there for a few snowflakes on the backside Monday. So again, quite the long frame ahead. Again, that was all throughout the week there. So we just covered the entire, that took the entire pretty much next 6 days to get through here. So again, it starts Wednesday night, really ramps up Thursday, or we just have rain all day Thursday, maybe on Friday as well, as it lifts up to Saturday there, Sunday here, and then on Monday maybe some backside rain to snow. Again, I don't murder me here. I'm just the messenger. Do I think we see some snow? Probably not, but I wouldn't be all that surprised to see maybe a few flakes mix in, especially in the higher elevation areas, especially out here in southeastern Kentucky. So once again, just a wild pattern ahead. So that's the overview there. Let's go a little bit more into Wednesday now. So before I get started on this, I want to tell you that the models have been they've been consistent with the overall threat that there is a high ceiling here. What I mean by that is that there is the potential for the next chapter of tornado outbreak here. That's absolutely on the table. The only thing that I have noticed so far is that when the storms go to fire up, they're very messy. And what I mean by that is kind of what I show you here. So let me go ahead and advance this all the way forward here. And you just look at that, and here are the storms firing up, okay? And they're just messy. And storms don't like messiness. They will just fizzle out. Jana, thank you for becoming a supporter on YouTube. I appreciate that. Again, storms don't like messy. Right, we do know that eventually, as this pushes to the east, we'll probably see this form into a quasi-linear convective system. You guys have heard me talk about that a lot. That's a QLCS event, which is similar to what we had last night, where we have the potential for damaging winds, high damaging winds, the potential for some hail, and a potential for a few spin-up tornadoes. And with the wind energy that we have tomorrow, I'm going to show you that here, or on Wednesday, I'm sorry. That wind energy potential that we have on Wednesday is probably some of the largest wind energy that I've seen in a while in Kentucky, and that's not hyperbole. I think it's the largest since that 2023 wind field that we saw that came through here. And again, that's not hyperbole. It's not to scare anyone. That's just a matter of the fact here that there's a lot of wind energy above our heads available for Wednesday, much more available than we had last night. The only question is, which storm mode is this storm system going to be? And what I mean by that, if you don't know, there are actually several different types of thunderstorms that occur. I have a little cheat sheet here, and all this. I'm not going to go into everything here. This is a lot, but all of these storm here, all that's on this tip sheet are different types of storm modes. So the type of storm mode that you have makes a massive difference on what you can see. All right, so if you're talking about discrete supercells, that leads to more tornadic activity. If you're talking about a line, or what we refer to as a linear event, a line of storms, that tends to lead to more toward damaging winds and a few spin-up tornadoes. Right now, I think it's too early to call what the exact storm mode will be. I do know that eventually this will form into a line of storms, as you can kind of see here, and that's pretty common on these types of events that happen late at night. This will be a late night event, by the way, for most folks. Western Kentucky may be the end of the afternoon, early evening, but for most folks in Central and Eastern Kentucky, this will be another late evening to overnight event. So for those of you that are going to ask about timing, that's the timing that we're looking at here. Um, Again, I thought I saw a weird comment. All right. So again, that's kind of what we're looking at for timing right now on Wednesday night. Models are going back and forth on that, and they're swinging about a 4-hour window, which is a very large window. If these storms come a little bit earlier, obviously they have a little bit more heat to work with. They have a little bit more energy to work with, and they can be quite stronger. If they come later at night, they can still be quite strong, but you lose a little bit of the energy for the storms to actually thrive off of. But to me, at this point, doesn't make much sense, or doesn't make much of a difference, because look at what's happening above our heads. This is the 850 millibar. This is about 5,000 feet above our head. And I want to show you, here's where our current wind speeds are above our head right now. Not too bad. It looks kind of light. If you're riding in an airplane right now, you're not experiencing too much turbulence. I do not recommend flying on Wednesday through Friday, because look at the wind speeds coming in above our heads. I mean, that is tremendous. We're talking about this potential for this lower level jet to be rocking at a speed of 90 plus mile per hour by the time this gets to Kentucky. That is a tremendous amount of winds 5,000 feet up. And I could tell you that several thousand feet up, the winds are actually a little bit faster as we push this forward above here to our north. So if you're flying anywhere north this week, you're going to be having a lot of turbulence. Make sure you take a throw-up bag with you, because the wind speeds above our heads are actually just phenomenal. And again, that lower level jet is just rocking. And you saw how once this got to the east over Indiana, once it got to over Kentucky, it strengthened. Those dark browns are showing up. That's almost, by the way, maxed out on the model data. So that just shows you that is some extremely fast wind gusts that are going on above our heads. And these storms are going to try and tap into those winds. I can tell you that on Wednesday, even if we do not see storms, which we will, by the way, but let's say for some weird reason we do not see storms actually form on Wednesday, the wind gusts, regardless of the storms, are tremendous. These are non-thunderstorm winds, which means that you don't have to have a thunderstorm to have this. These winds are going to occur regardless. And look at how fast these wind speeds are going in Kentucky. You're talking about, and this is before the actual line gets towards central Kentucky, by the way, so the wind speeds might even be higher than this. I absolutely foresee a high wind watch coming out from the National Weather Service to cover pretty much all of central and western Kentucky, maybe even portions of eastern Kentucky. These are non-thunderstorm winds of 50 to 60 mile per hour that may be occurring Wednesday evening, even without storm formation. So once again, just to reiterate, even if we do not see storms, which we will, the wind gusts are going to be quite tremendous, almost severe level winds occurring there. So another metric needed for storms is going to be dew points. Do we have enough dew points? Well, in order for storms to really be going in the spring, you need those dew points to be over 60 degrees. You can see that almost everyone in Kentucky has those dew points over 60 degrees. So not too much problem with the moisture there, not too much problem with the wind energy. Do we have anything to force these storms to go behind it, which you either need a cold front or you need dry air behind the actual line of storms? So this is going to tell us right here, this is the 700 millibar relative humidity. This is the measurement of the moisture about several thousand feet up above our heads. So I'm going to advance this forward. Here's your line of storms, by the way. See where that nice pocket of moisture is. You have dry air in front, dry air in back, and that trailing dry air to the northwest there. That's absolutely enough of a forcing mechanism to allow storms to go. So all indications are that this is a high ceiling event for Wednesday that could produce several strong tornadoes throughout western Kentucky, Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. In central Kentucky, maybe a few spin up on the weaker side, but still that threat there as well. And that could absolutely shift and move as these models are coming into to fold now. I think I stalled long enough for this one to start coming in. Let's see here. This is a brand new round from the HRRR model. And again, it's showing the same thing that the North American model showed. The storms are forming on Wednesday, but it looks very messy. So there might be that potential for a bust to occur when it comes to the higher end event. I do think regardless we see severe weather occur on Wednesday. And again, I do want to reiterate the ceiling is high. And what I mean by that is that the potential is high. Again, I think this has the potential to be even more significant than what we saw on Sunday. And I do think this has the potential on Wednesday night to be our most significant event since May 26th of 2024, where we did see a confirmation of over 20 tornadoes occur. Again, don't know if that's exactly going to happen. Again, it all matters of timing. It all matters of storm mode. It all matters of where exactly the low pressure tracks, so on and so forth. How far north the warm sector gets. All of those we hope to be answered by tomorrow night. Again, I know it's pretty late notice, but quite honestly, with no models really agreed too much on all the little finer details right now. I can tell you, I know you guys are going to ask me for the significant tornado index chart here, and here it is. And I can tell you, I don't know if it's going to see it all the way yet. It does not see it all the way yet. So let's go to the NAM model. And again, it is quite high here. And this does not mean you're going to see tornadoes occur, but you can see the potential is there. Pretty high index here. Not as high as back out there in Arkansas, where I think they're going to have potentially a historic day out there in Arkansas. But still quite high, about a medium on the tornado index here via the NAM model for pretty much all of western and central Kentucky. And again, maybe even slightly higher for out there in far western Kentucky, where it just seems to always be higher. All right. So the potential is absolutely there for a high ceiling event. We just don't know if the storm mode is going to allow for the full potential to be seen. That's just going to have to wait to be noticed on model data, probably tomorrow, whenever the newest model data gets in. So that's Wednesday specifically. Again, we already talked about the potential for rainfall on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you did miss out on that, by the way, if you just now got in here, I'll go ahead and show you guys the forecast from the Weather Prediction Center here, where they do show the probability for a wide swath of 6 to 12 inches of rainfall, all the way from Lexington to Bowling Green to Elizabethtown to Louisville to Paducah and everywhere in between those zones. So quite the high amount of rainfall on the way, and the potential for severe weather, not only on Wednesday, but maybe a brief window on Thursday, a brief window on Friday, and a brief window on Saturday night going into Sunday. The time frame right now for Wednesday looks to be late Wednesday, maybe a little bit after sunset for most folks. And again, I will update you. We'll have timing maps out tomorrow. We'll have bullseye maps out tomorrow. All that good stuff. What I wanted to do in this broadcast was just kind of give you a general overview of where we're at right now, the pattern that we're heading into, and the potential for each day there. Tomorrow, I will get to you guys very specific details on what, when, how to expect things. I'll get to a few questions now, but again, this is a very general overview broadcast, so I'm not going to get into all the backyards, all the specific zip codes here, because I just wanted to touch base, kind of let you know what the pattern is here, and hopefully answer a few questions. Dylan on YouTube asks, do you see a level 4 out of 5 risk being added tomorrow? I absolutely do. And again, that's going to depend on precisely how models handle things. But I think regardless, even if it's not in Kentucky, a level 4 out of 5 risk is going to be added somewhere very close to western Kentucky. If I had to imagine, it's probably West Tennessee, far west Kentucky, Missouri, down to Arkansas, up towards southern Illinois, maybe even southern Indiana. I don't know how far east into Kentucky that's going to stretch, but somewhere, someone by tonight's update of 2 a.m. is going to be in a level 4 out of 5 risk. And there is the potential, if this continues to keep uptrending, that a potential live or a potential 5 out of 5 risk gets added at some point. Again, for somebody. Again, I don't make those decisions, but based off of everything I'm seeing, the ceiling of this event is very, very high. Hopefully, what happens is we get the storms to go into a messy line, and we just end up with a bunch of wind, which will still be, I think dangerous, because we're probably, if they go into a line of storms, if it goes into a line, we're probably dealing with another night of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds, and we're dealing with flash flooding at that point as well. So again, and we saw last night what 70 to 80 mile per hour winds can do. All right, let's see here. I only cover Kentucky, by the way, folks. Only Kentucky. If you live very, very, very close to the Kentucky border, I may give you a little bit of insight, but I try to stay in my zone here. Thank you, George, for your forecast. You shoot it straight, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. Again, timing for Wednesday right now for the peak of severe weather in Kentucky looks to be around sunset to around midnight to 1 a.m. Eastern time. Again, that can change as these models get a little bit closer, which, by the way, we'll see here if the new HRRR model can see things yet. And again, sorry if I sound tired. I am pushing very hard to make it through this broadcast. It was a long, long day yesterday. I think I finally got done after about 18 hours. Okay, starting to see a little bit. I don't like what I'm seeing, though, because this is a little bit different here. And if this website ever wants to load. I'm just taking a brief look real quickly. Excuse me. Yeah, you're already seeing some potential for some cells to pop up in front of the line. This is what we don't want to see, again, because all the energy is going to be on the front side of this line and with the line itself. So I don't like the fact that we're seeing, even on this very early run of a short range model, and as you kind of see there, the tick up on those cells there, the potential for supercells to pop in front of the line. Yeah, that looks absolutely disgusting. Again, I'm not going to hold back here, folks. This on Wednesday night, there is quite the potential here. Again, there are some fail modes for it or some bust modes for it, but do not bank on that, because everything that we're seeing right now, yeah, we're looking at 7.5 lapse rates in the lower layers there. Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm just kind of glancing over this. Definitely have an elevated moist layer there, low cloud levels. You have a veer back on the winds. Yeah, I mean, everything I'm seeing here points toward the possibility for significant severe weather. And again, this would be, I think the modes for Wednesday night, those headline modes will be tornadoes and winds. I don't think we're looking at as much hail as we did last night. Again, the potential is there. Yeah, I am not liking what I'm seeing. And again, this is just one run here, folks, but yeah, there will be a moderate risk issued. Absolutely, there will be. And it might end up being for Central Kentucky. Again, this is a brand new run coming in, so I haven't had time to break this down yet, so don't. This is just one run here. This is not what we do. We don't look at one run and go off of that. But this potential is quite high. I'm kind of looking at it here with you guys for the first time. What time is this? Oh yeah, that's like 5 in the afternoon. Yeah. I mean, if that happens, if we see cells pop in front of that line before sunset, yeah, and you can see almost every one of these cells, they have that little curve to them that we look for there. So, come on, load. I guess everyone's on pivotal weather right now. All the new models are coming out. I guess this is a brand new model run here. Yeah, I mean, everything that I'm looking at here checks the boxes for that event. You know what I mean? And again, this is not hyperbole. This is not to scare you guys. This is what I'm seeing come in. And again, this is one model run. This can easily go back the other way, because again, look what happened back here on the old model run of the North America model. Right, there were no prefrontal cells at all. This was just one messy line. So there is a potential there for this to just go back the other way and not be prefrontal cells. Again, so I do want to point that out real quickly as well. This is just one run, but I'm telling you, if this scenario right here comes to fruition, this will be a very long night in Kentucky. Again, I just want to reiterate, that's not to scare folks. It's not to get you guys to view. You guys are already in here. This is just what I'm seeing as this comes in. Yeah, this is messy. Oh my. Yeah, based upon this right here, again, this is enough right here to pull the moderate risk out. And again, this can very easily shift back the other way. This is a nice shift of about 75 miles to the east. So again, this could easily shift back the other way, folks. So do not take this one run and say, oh my goodness, Armageddon's coming, it's biblical, it's the end of times. No, this is one model run here, folks. So do not take this and get fully scared here. Guys, I will let you know if things are looking very, very bad. And yeah, that is almost a perfect hodograph. A little bit of a messy skew T-chart, not perfect there, but that's mainly because of a little bit of the cap down there at the surface. See how this temperature line goes just in front of the adiabatic line there. And you have the reversing of winds. This looks perfect for rotating storms. Just putting that out there. Oh my goodness, so much shear and helicity there as well. Yeah, that it just does not look great. Again, the potential is there. What we're hoping for is that just a messy line of storms develops, and all we have to deal with is some damaging winds. Um, so again, that's just one model run. Do not go and freak out. Of course, I will let you guys know. As someone asked how much or how many times this model updates, it updates every hour, but every 6 hours it goes out to 48 hours. The rest of them they only go out to 18 hours. So as you can see here, 18 hours. But if I go back to 6 runs ago, 48 hours. So again, this model does tend to be a little bit wrong. 48 hours out like it is here. As you can see, our sliders all the way to 48 hours out. But I just tell you that if this scenario comes true here, where we see cells jump in front of the line, this will be a moderate day in Kentucky, maybe even more. So I'm gonna get this a Red Bull and a fish fillet. My doctor said no more energy drinks, so just fish fillets, please. Again, we're not going to get into too many sections of Kentucky right now because, as you can see here, it's shifting every model run. I will let you guys know tomorrow morning we'll have a bullseye map out by tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a timing map out by tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Weather Now Kentucky, of course. We'll have all those great specific details out by tomorrow afternoon at the absolute latest. Someone asked, "Do I see do I see the typical weakening trend into eastern Kentucky?" Probably. And again, that's not necessarily because of the storms themselves. That's because of your geography over there. Storms do, or tornadoes and storms don't like elevated locations. They don't like having to fight the different elevations, so they will go to flatter areas. What's up with this weather pattern? The conspiracy theorists will tell you it's HARP. I will tell you it's the record warmth that we're seeing in the Gulf. It's also the weakening of the La Nina out there in the Pacific Ocean, and it's also the incredible amount of dry air that we're seeing roll off of the deserts out there in Southwest America. So there's a lot of science behind this, but we could tell. I mean, we even put it back in our Wintercast video back in November. You can go back and watch that on YouTube. And I told you guys I thought the comp for this year was 2011. And 2011 there was quite the snowfall. And then there was quite the severe weather in late March to early April, as well as into May. Again, don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but you kind of see it's already kind of happening here in front of our eyes. Again, Alex, we're going to have to wait till probably the day of to see that. Models tend to handle cloud coverage very, very poorly. Do not be worried. Do not be scared. Do not be freaked out. Once again, I will tell you guys if it's time to do those things. You know, I've always been like that. But right now is not that time because, again, these models are shifting all over the place. They're just now getting the idea of things. They're just now able to see the storms. So once again, do not freak out. Do not stress. Do not worry. I will tell you if it's time to do that. All right. Do I see it shifting south a bit because the SPC said something about that in their statement? Haley, I think it can go either way. I think it can go either way. So again, this is for Wednesday night. We do see a lot of rainfall Wednesday through Sunday, where the potential is there for up to maybe even 10 inches of rainfall, maybe even slightly more in some locations, especially out there in western Kentucky. So once again, just want to point out there is the potential for life-threatening flooding by Sunday in Kentucky. Just again, the amount of rainfall that we're going to see with these multiple rounds of events, not only on Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday, maybe even some backside snow Monday morning. It's quite the roller coaster ahead. Yes, all these will be mainly nighttime events, guys. It's going to be the same repeated pattern, unfortunately. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here. I wanted to make this just a general outlook video here. Again, I will have all of those specific details of when, where, what, how to expect things out onto Facebook and Twitter by tomorrow. We'll probably also do a YouTube video or another live broadcast later on tomorrow night to get you guys prepped. We'll do one on Wednesday morning as well to get you guys prepped. You will have all of those details. This video in particular, is just kind of a general overview of where we're at, where we're going, and what things look like for the next 6 to 7 days here. I do want to give you guys a message from our sponsors real quick before we roll out, because they're the whole reason we're able to be here for you guys 24/7. I hope you hear them out. It only takes 70 seconds, and then I'll get to a few more of your questions. FBI Buildings has over a half a century of experience in renovating, remodeling, and rebuilding any residential and commercial building. They also can give your pole barns new life. If any disaster does hit, be sure to go to FBIbuildings.com for a free quote. Digital Solutions in Radcliffe, Kentucky is a family-owned tech shop. Be sure to repair or purchase any device from them and keep the business local. Thank you to Kayla and her team for supporting W&K. It's a good idea after this harsh winter to make sure your roofs are ready to go for the springtime storms. If you're in or around Hardin County, make sure you check out Hyper Roofing at the link on your screen. And that link, by the way, will also be in the description below. I could list all of their accolades, but just know if I trust them and recommend them to you, that my word is good. Get ahead of the storms by making sure your home is ready for them. Right Implement has over 15 locations throughout all of Kentucky and making it convenient for you to go shop with them. They're our longest standing sponsor, and we appreciate them so much for their support. They have so many things from outdoor apparel to outdoor vehicles to things to help you on your farm. Right Implement is such a phenomenal company and someone that you really want to support in Kentucky. Thank you so much to Right Implement and to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We appreciate them so much. Once again, they're the reason we're able to be here for you guys 24/7. So I hope you guys consider supporting them, using their services or purchasing their materials. Again, thank you to Hyper Roofing, Right Implement, FBI Buildings. Oh my goodness, and Weatherwise. Sorry, I blanked out there for a second. Which, by the way, is the radar that we use here, as well as our other sponsors, Turf Tech, and everyone else. I know I'm forgetting one. Thank you guys again for all of their support, because again, they're the reason we're able to be here for you guys 24/7. All right, here is the latest SPC outlook. This will be updated by 2 a.m. tonight, or I'm sorry, 2 a.m. In the morning, I guess technically. I always think of like 1 to 3 a.m. as the same night as the prior. You know what I mean? Am I the only one that does that? I don't know. We need a wish list for the new baby. All right, I'll get that to you guys at some point. You guys are always so kind. I appreciate you all. But here's the latest SPC outlook. Generally the same areas that got hit last night with the fall off out there toward eastern Kentucky. I do expect that this will be changed and updated later on tonight, or again around 2 a.m. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's going to be changed anyway. You can see it does have a significant possibility of severe weather all the way from Lexington to Somerset to Bowling Green to Elizabethtown to Louisville, Frankfort, up there toward Maysville, up there toward Florence, Kentucky, Independence, going out toward Owensboro, Madisonville, Hopkinsville, Paducah, Mayfield, Murray, so on and so forth. And again, yellow is 15% and brown is 5% chance of severe weather. Red is a 30% chance of severe weather with a 10% significant severe risk. And again, I do expect that some of these portions will be upgraded to a 4 out of 5 risk, which I believe is a 45% risk of severe weather. Again, that's kind of what I'm looking at there. Again, this is for Wednesday night. Is George having another baby? I am, or not me, but my wife and I, yes. I know, okay, well, I wish they would change their timing because it goes till 7 a.m. the following day. It's always so strange. It's always so strange. I know we aren't supposed to freak out, but so many people are calling for a tornado outbreak. Yeah, a lot of that is for them to get a little bit more views on their YouTube videos, but I think this time the verbiage of a tornado outbreak is probably warranted. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean just for Kentucky, but you're looking at all the possibilities there. Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, into Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. Again, this is a very wide swath and almost the same exact areas that just got hit. Matter of fact, I'll show you if I can pull it up here. I'm going on Twitter. By the way, Twitter is a very weird place, so if anything weird pops up, don't yell at me. Twitter is a whole different world. I just want to look at. I don't know if I have a zoomed out picture. Man, Cherie was putting in work on X last night. Look at this. Look how many warnings she posted. And so I tell you guys to follow us on every platform. We truly do get you guys all of the information. I'm trying to see. So here's kind of here's a it's not as zoomed out as I was hoping it would be, but you can see it's generally the same areas up to Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. Generally the same areas: Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. So it's again generally the same areas that just got hit last night. I guess it's crazy. Congrats on the new baby. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Baby number 2, yes. We like to call baby number 3 because we don't ever want to discount our first one that we miscarried. But yes, team boy or girl. I would love to have a girl so we can make it one girl, one boy, and be done in a perfect world. Um, but we'll see. We'll love him or her either way. You know what I mean? All right. So I think that's going to be how far along? About I think 10.5 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, something like that. Not too far along, and she's definitely going through the first trimester of troubles right now. Again, she's a trooper. I can't believe how strong women are. It's amazing. It's amazing. Way stronger than us men. And for any men that disagree with that, you guys are crazy. Uh, anyway, that's going to do it for us here. Again, I'll get you guys all those more specific details tomorrow, and of course, leading up to the event. Until then, just don't freak out. You know, there's going to be a lot of people calling for a lot of things. Just pick 2 or 3 people that you trust, stick with those folks, and kind of ride it out here with us. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. We appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, stay safe, friends.